Oh boy, that's exactly what I thought happened. So, my daughters were in here last night. They were talking about the chicken coop, and they were like, "Hey, Mom, the door's not opening." So that's our auto door, and it's on like a photo sensor. And looks like the battery's gone dead. So all of these birds are just itching. Come on. And the problem is that this door is very tight. So we got some coop issues here. This latch is very difficult. But yep, there they are. They are just, woo! Fly, ladies. Oh, and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Goodness gracious, y'all. I'm so sorry. Poor ladies. I've been very cooped up. So today is going to be like a shorter video because I am currently working on the video that will be released probably next week. One of the things on our list was to make a bat house, which, as y'all know, if you saw the Reclaiming Your Homestead video, and also if you saw the tractor maintenance video, you would realize we have a lot of spots where mosquitoes gather just from containers and such that got left out right during the fire time, and they've all been like collecting water over months and months. So everything like that, all things considered, we've kind of got like our own little personal mosquito farm going over here. So with that being said, we are trying to encourage bats to live on the property and eat some of those mosquitoes. I'll be talking more about those benefits and such in the video where I will show you how to build a bat house, and we'll kind of keep tabs and progress on that as we go. But for today, I just kind of want to do something real quick because we are heading into February, which is all about planting the garden. And part of planting the garden for me is just the process of visualizing where I want to take this space that just seems very overwhelming right now, right? So I am out here just kind of planning out and dreaming with y'all and talking to y'all about my thoughts and ideas to get started heading into this garden season. We'll be doing some other videos about how I'm going to be cleaning up these tools and cleaning up the space and getting rid of weeds and everything like that too, because obviously there's a lot of that going on. And yeah, you'll be following along with me as I do that. So as you saw, I kind of walked in here. If you saw our Reclaiming Homestead video, I highly recommend it so that you can kind of understand what's going on. I gave a tour of kind of the state in which everything's in. Some of this obviously is not from the fire. Some of this was like we were in the middle of a project and it just kind of got stopped because of various reasons. You know, so that's what a lot of this is. But I'll be cleaning up this. This is the path. So as you see, this is the gate. The gate I'd like to switch out eventually. We do have some kind of like exposed screws and things like that. So I would like to kind of get that all cleaned up. But over here, where you see kind of this lattice work, oh, I was zoomed in, sorry. Over here where you see kind of this lattice work, that was like the old duck space. And it went all the way to where basically you see those dog fennel popping up right there. And it kind of came down to this corner and then came down to there. So my vision for this, because we're no longer using the shed as a duck coop, my husband built this really cute duck coop. We're no longer using that as a duck coop. But I've got this like really great pea gravel kind of all over the place, right? And the soil is clay, Georgia clay, which is tough to grow in to begin with. But we've got this kind of open space here with pea gravel. And of course, some of it's been kind of buried over here and things like that. I had filled all these walkways with pea gravel. And in my first video, walking and giving you guys a tour of this, you'll know that I'm not a fan of it. So weeds will definitely pop through these walkways, regardless of the weed barrier you have underneath, regardless of the fact that you think there's no soil in there. There absolutely is. It gets blown around, seeds get blown around, and weeds eventually just take over between the beds, and it's really hard to pull them out. You'd think that it'd be easy, but it's not. So what I would really like to do is actually mulch the areas between the beds with some kind of like wood chips or something like that, and lay those out. Also kind of smother down with cardboard, get the pathways, returning the organic matter back into the soil. That way I can actually utilize some of the space on the edges for things like companion plants like nasturtiums, some trailing nasturtiums on the edges, or like some marigolds and things like that. But back to kind of this space that kind of looks desolate. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take out this pea gravel in these walkways, and I actually want to fill more over in this area. And I'm thinking about lining this whole these sides of this shed, because I mean, it's a pretty-ish shed. I mean, it's a shed, right? But it's not like a focal point of a garden, right? So I think what I want to do is I want to put like container gardens like all along here, and kind of some of those more like invasive herbs like mint and things, or things that just really take up space and start bushing out, like your oreganos and stuff, or your rosemaries and things. Would love to have like an herb container garden, and then plant some flowers as well. So like I've got these posts in the backyard. Actually, I'll kind of zoom in. It's over by the kids' play set. I had an idea for those, and then they fell, and then I was not too happy with that idea. Do you see those posts out there? I'm going to retrieve those posts. So they're in those pots down there, and they have concrete filled inside of them, but there's drainage holes and spacing for soil so that you can actually put flowers and plants down at the base of those pots. So I'd like to bring those in here and have maybe one here and there, have like some string lights or something, you know, and then maybe some like I don't know, some vining black-eyed Susans, or like, you know, some kind of plant along those things, and bring some flowers into this space as well. I would like to keep my potatoes over here this year. So last year my potatoes were in that bed way back there, and it's the first year I ever grew potatoes, and I got them, but they were all green, which is dangerous. You cannot eat those. They were exposed to way too much sun. And it was because I just didn't have them mounded enough. So I'm thinking that if I turn around and in this space have like, you know, the bigger pots or like potato bags or something along those lines, just something really pretty, especially because like sweet potatoes have such a gorgeous vine on top of them that it looks almost like a planter plant anyways, that you can, or that I can put them in here and just have this really nice space. And then maybe I'll be able to like kind of sit in here somewhere too, that I can like see my chickens. And oh my goodness, that is how you're getting out. Oh, the netting must be like open on that side. Man, she is out every day, and I've been trying to figure it out. Sneaky scalper, man. She's a crazy chicken. I don't know what her deal is, but she is the craziest of crazy. What are you doing? Dude, hi. And then you're gonna go drink the dirty duck water. That's great. Anyways, they have plenty of water, so I don't know why she does that. But regardless, so I think this space in here is going to be like a container herb garden, which obviously it's not going to come out that far. It's probably going to come out to about where you see my finger right here. Then that leaves kind of this area here, which would be nice if I could get like either like another bed, or maybe even like a higher raised bed, like a Vigo bed, or use like one of the tartan, the metal, like a stock tank type beds right here. That'd be really neat. That way it can kind of define this border. You too? Oh man, you guys have all found the opening. Oh great, we're gonna have to fix that. But anyways, so right here we can have kind of like something lining this path that goes into the chicken run. So of course this path, like I said before, I don't want it to be pea gravel. Another big reason why I don't want this path to be pea gravel is because it's really hard to push the wheelbarrow through. So I was having difficulty with that as well. So I want to make sure that happens. I am going to keep the same set of raised beds. I am not changing these at all this year. I will top them off, return some nutrients. As we can see over here, especially in the tomato bed, you can see that a lot of soil has depleted down. I mean, that is way down, right? Look at that on that side. How crazy is that? So there's a lot of loss in these beds. I will get those kind of topped off, but that's about all the work I'm going to do in terms of adding beds and more growing space. Because realistically this year I want to just kind of get this whole space cleaned up and looking better. So I don't want to focus on adding. I'm trying to focus on cleaning, beautifying, and working with what I got. The only thing I'm not sure about is over here. I'll show you down here. used to be the original edge of the original garden. So this was the original edge, all here, and right, if you can see kind of where that pea gravel stops. This is one of the this from here to, sorry, I can't see with the camera, that light is so bright. From here to here, it was one of the other compost heaps. I am not sure if I want to keep the compost heap right here. If I do, I might change the orientation. Like, this used to be the back side of the heap because we used to bring the tractor in from this side to help turn it. So we used to bring it in from here, but you can't do that anymore. So I think I'm going to actually take this off the back, and I'm going to make that side the back side. That way I have access to fresh compost very close to my beds, and if I need to throw something into the compost bins, that's not too difficult. So I think I'm going to actually keep this compost heap exactly where it is. Also, it's not too far away from the door to the chicken run. That way it'll be really easy when I go to clean out the chicken coop and things, that I can throw that fresh compost or that fresh manure and bedding right into the bay. So I'm thinking I'm going to actually keep that there. I need to get another setup. Unfortunately, we pulled that out because there was one right down on that corner. I think when we were doing stuff, we needed to yank it out. But I need kind of like another section to be able to like turn my pile. So I might have to configure this a little bit differently. Either that, or I might actually stick those kind of like, those kind of pre-made compost bins like in this heap, as opposed to having a heap like have bins. I haven't decided yet. But compost is like super important because you're obviously going through food waste anyways, so you might as well be composting. It's all something that you can use in the garden, so I really want to kind of get that up and running, even though it's technically not on the blog that we're following for our instructions. And that's one part where I think I would highly disagree with the blog, because I feel like setting up a compost pile is probably one of the first steps to homesteading, in my opinion. Going ahead, turning that food waste, turning that brown matter into that into that gold that you need to put back onto your beds every single year. So that's a super, super high priority of mine. Other than really cleaning up the fields around, I don't think I want to add anything to those fields this year. But one thing I do want to note is that I need to, one, determine a place that I want to put my greenhouse when I create it. I have all these windows over there to make a window greenhouse that I've been storing up. So one, I want to have a place for my greenhouse. Two, I have a ton of seeds, non-invasive, which is good, but a ton of seeds from a former coworker of mine, friend of mine, named Ronnie, and she's from India. And she gave me a bunch of seeds that you just can't find here in the United States hardly ever, unless you're going through like specialty seed stores, for these varieties of plants that are for like a lot of popular Indian dishes. And they're really, really neat. So I really was kind of hoping to set up some kind of form of like cute little India garden where it's like all the plants from India. And my one daughter loves elephants. So I was like, I put cute little elephant statues and have like little, mandalas or whatever. And it would just be a nice little space, and also kind of like a way to say thank you for her being so generous and giving me those seeds. And I just think it would be a neat way to make the garden more fun and something I want to come and spend time in. I also actually, you can see it over here. If you see over there, we have a stack of old fencing. It's kind of that black wrought iron fencing. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with that just yet. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if there was some kind of like cottage garden or some kind of form of I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like a cut flower garden, and then maybe I can like edge it with that like cute little fencing that I've got over there. But for the most part, like I said before, I don't really want to add to it. So I think I'm just going to go through here and clean up, getting all this tall grass knocked down, tidy up all of the homesteading stuff, right? Like see what we really need, go through that. I also am going to determine a new spot for the duck coop and their boat. The biggest reason why they got moved over there was because there's an outlet hooked to power to my husband's shop. It's not my favorite spot, but maybe it's not my favorite spot because it's not taken care of. If that, that's a real possibility. It's a real possibility that I don't like it just sheerly for the fact that like everything is kind of trashy right now. So I haven't decided quite yet if I want to move it. It might stay there, but I don't know what I want to do around it. I've thought about like I know our driveways, if you see my other video, have like our orchard and stuff, but I've also thought about adding in maybe some dwarf fruit varieties in here. That'll also give a little shade for them and shade for the pond, but just kind of give it a little more character and space. But it's also good to have bushes for safety because my ducks are free ranged in the garden all year. They need space from aerial predators. Like we have red shoulder hawks, we have red tail hawks, and we have bald eagles. So it's really important that they have places that they can hide. We unfortunately, if you saw one of my previous videos, you'll know that we did lose one of our drakes to a bald eagle attack fairly recently, and it was part of it. It was just a big attack. Like got a hold of a bunch of chickens, things like that. So I really want to give these little guys an opportunity to have some space that they can like run and hide under. So maybe some blueberry bushes, things like that. Haven't quite figured that out. But if you've got ideas, leave it in the comments below. That'd be great. We also, in the front here, across that front fence, planted some more of the Carolina cypresses. They're very short right now, but they grow about 2 feet a year. So soon, the garden on this side, you won't be able to see the road for the most part. Those should be starting to block out that road coming up here in a couple of years. It is a wait, but it is what it is. You know, the waiting game. They are one of the fastest growing trees, though. And then that will also lead way to kind of figuring out what I want to do in that space as well. So, we've got one more big section here that I have no idea if I should just leave it alone this year and just keep it clean or what. But it's this whole area here because the garden used to stop right at the edge of here, okay? And it used to come down like that and then basically hook into essentially kind of where that post is. And so there's kind of like this empty space here that I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. We ended up expanding the gate over to hook in with the shop because we just felt like it just aesthetically made more sense to anchor off of the building. It was also better in terms of having the fencing stretch farther because you already have a structure in place. But the shop wasn't there before the garden. So that got added in 2020 and in the very beginning of 2020. So in the beginning of 2020, I had moved the fence to connect in and moved that to connect in. And actually we shoved this back. So this shed used to be pulled farther forward. So we had everything kind of tying in. But now I've kind of have this like huge dead space over here that I'm not quite sure yet. Cause like I said, eventually I want to add more beds. That'll be great. But that might be a bit much for this year. So maybe the flower garden, like the cut flowers or the cottage garden, could kind of tuck the ducks back in there. If anybody is watching this that has kind of experience with ducks and things like that, let me know if you think that you see any problematic issues with having this kind of set up as like a cute little cottage garden, because we could probably do a lot in this space, filling this in, have a little pathway that hooks into the shop right there, add some steps, maybe some stone, use the cute little fencing over there, you know, kind of tie it all together, have some trees, you know, and then, you know, have your field of flowers here. And maybe not even trees. Maybe I'll just have like really tall like hollyhocks and stuff, you know, all on this side. But If you can foresee any issues with if you can foresee any issues with why ducks shouldn't be in a cottage garden, definitely let me know. I haven't experienced it before because I obviously don't have a cottage garden, and I haven't before either. Although I do have a ton of seeds because seed magazines are amazing and I just want all the seeds. Thanks y'all for joining me today as I kind of show you my vision of where I'm trying to go with this. And as we're going into February, we'll be doing a lot more planning. It's going to be specifically geared towards the garden. We're definitely going to be going over seed starting, how I'm going to be washing my tools and prepping them. There's several tools that have rust on them. I'll have to be filing edges down with a metal file, oiling them, everything like that. So we will definitely be touching base on how I sanitize and get my tools ready for the gardening season. Also, we'll probably be getting ready to do some seed starting soon, and I got to get that space kind of cleared up in the shop. There's like one small bay that I'll be working out of. But overall, I have to have like kind of the vision of what I'm trying to do here, and I need to start figuring out how I want to set up items in the garden and realistically start moving towards those goals. So we'll start showing kind of as I move in that direction. I'm sure there'll be some time-lapse videos of me actually cleaning up out here and some before and afters, that type of thing. And we can kind of move in that forward direction. So again, if you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Also, please check out the video when it comes to reclaiming our homestead so that you can kind of understand what we're trying to do here and what kind of put everything in this state. And please join us as we continue trying to fix this up, and we'll just kind of see where everything goes. All right, thanks y'all. Have a good one.